I've got 100k followers on Instagram, and this is how I did it. So it started back in 2022. At that point, 2,000 followers. I was trying to become a model. I know I needed followers in order for me to get booked, or I thought that is how it worked. So I started really taking it seriously. I landed a runway show for the very first time, probably going to be my last as well. That was 3 years ago. It's basically like, it's a glow up video. And then that blew up. I just thought to myself, wow, there's actually a chance that this could happen. People am interested in what I have to say or who I am. So I started making fashion content, doing a lot of research online, listening to everybody on YouTube or whatever resources that I could get. Back then, you really just have to like make content that is relatively fun and it will get you followers or likes, because there wasn't so much competition back then. I was just making a lot of like styling content. I would buy clothes from ASOS and return them after the content, which is like really, really bad for the environment. But I feel like when you literally have no money, no anything, I didn't even have lighting equipment. It was buying a tripod was expensive for me at that point. Have to just exploit the system a little bit to get to a level where people will still be interested to watch your content. I started looking at what people would make and make my own version of it. The series of content that really hit it off was the ones in changing rooms. So I would go out, pick outfits for a look, go into changing room, film myself undressing and getting dressed. To be honest, I'll be shocked at the end result because I'll never know like what it'll look like, right? I can only like hope for the best. And it was fun for a while because it was like a new thing. After a while, it was like a hustle because you have to go out. I will batch film. So I'll film like 3 videos in one day. And one video would take like an hour and a half. Like an hour is literally in the changing room, and I'll feel really guilty for being there and not buying anything. So my mom would be there with me because I felt really, I was nervous. I was scared when I started making these videos. She would be waiting for me for like 4 hours at the shop. Things were rolling. I was getting more followers. It wasn't like a crazy jump. I think I had a crazy jump from the first modeling video, which got me to 20 or 30k. Back then it was so easy. Jumped from 2,000 followers. Then my next break was when I went to Japan. I filmed a video of me wearing a kimono, running away from my family because they have these homophobic point of view. They're not homophobic, but I think when I told them that I'm gonna do that, like my uncle literally told me that I would get into jail for that because he probably thought that I was like doing it in a perverted way. So that got me to like 80k at that point. I just like continue making different content. I experimented with different things, and at that point the algorithm had really changed. The whole journey was chaotic, to say the least. A lot of changes, and it didn't work in my favor because I was making NSFW content, like really close up of me like getting changed. There will still be audience for that. But I feel like now it is not working anymore. But I was making a lot of those videos and I was consistently like impressing my audience in that way. At that point, I could afford just reaching out to brands and I could get collabs. They'll send me clothes and I would make content for them. At the beginning, I really thought that if I just continuously doing good content for them, I'll eventually be paid for my content. And little did I know that that is not the case. I was struggling to really see a future in content. Although I was having fun. I was making like shoots that take ages to edit, like things like these, where I'll do like a home shoot and then I'll just edit myself. And it takes maybe like 2 or 3 weeks just to edit like one bunch of videos, as well as trying to make or post like 3 times a week with like 2 videos and 1 photo post. And having a job and doing the out residency. I remember being really, really stressed about everything. The view was sort of going down consistently when I would repeat the sort of like the schedule of like having photo, 2 videos of like the changing room videos. Whenever I have like a new thing, it might get a lot of views and likes, but then after a while it will die down, and then after experiment with different things. That was the point when everything just starts to like change all the time. At that point, I had already established a very strong brand, which is like very non-binary, very androgynous and sexy outfits. Just continue on that direction because that is what people like to see. I've built an audience that is really focusing on seeing my body. I might have shot myself. No, that's not true. I mean, that is truly what I want to make. I do think like the algorithm now, like they're not letting anybody. This is too long. No, I should keep going. Sorry, I had a moment of doubt. And now that I've like focused on money, I have to balance my integrity with what is going to be profitable so I can sustain what I do. And you thought that I'm gonna share like loads of tips, but it's literally just me like talking about like all the things that I've been through. To be honest with you, I don't really know what I'm doing with Instagram. I just know that I have to like post consistently. I have to make really good content, like content that I look at and think that this is cool. Sometimes it might not work out. Most of the time it does because after you've built a good following, you have that sense of like trust from your audience. But you can't predict anything. And also like if you're making content like mine, you'll get shadow banned. Or not shadow banned, restricted. Like you won't be shown to non-followers. And that's just what you have to deal with as a content creator after like 3 years of doing this. Something that you just have to get used to. Like you can like spend hours and hours doing a video like you might think is the best video, it will just flop and you have no control over it. And I think the way that I get used to it is just to make things and just to produce what you like. Be smart about what you do. Don't just like go into like food, like ASMR, and then like just like randomly go into like technology. Basically, it's literally about like having one niche down. I don't know if that is like the best way in 2025 onwards, but that has worked for me. A system where you can follow a sustainable schedule for you to like make content, to film, to edit, and then post. Once you lose that momentum, like once you like lose that streak, if you let's say if you want to post like twice every week, it's hard to get back into it. Audience will lose interest in your content. Like you have to find that balance, like you have to know your limit. By making content, you start to understand how much is too much for your brain to handle and just pull back whenever you start to feel like you're burning out. I experienced burnout a lot last year. When I literally could not get myself to work. But now I know my limits. I know when I need a break, when it's okay to just not post. Even though you have all these rules in your head, like at that point, you sort of have to listen to your brain and listen to your body. And that is probably where one of the biggest tips. You might think that I'm going to give you tips on like the actual technicality. There are a lot of people who can do that for you, but what I want to share more is about the emotional side, which is like the biggest challenge for anybody, to be honest. And a lot of people just assume that like, you can just set up a timetable or set up a schedule and then like just follow through and then you'll be fine. But as soon as like they start feeling the pressure, it's not that easy. I would say that social media has really changed my life. I've become like so much more confident. I know myself a lot more. My aesthetic, obviously, but also like the things that I would do if I'm under pressure, like how I would behave or react. You just have to keep going. I don't know how it's going to end up. Like I really don't know. I love social media for some reasons, but I really do hate it for other reasons in the way that like it really changes my world view. It can get quite dark. But it's given me a lot of hope. If you really want to pursue it, you can't give up. You have to just keep on producing. You have to trust your instincts and make what makes you happy, but also things that is commercial and then that people will like. That's my biggest advice.